Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's Thursday. Thursday Tier Talk is back. Football is back. Joining me as always in the booth from the far side of Stockley Park. Hang on one second, I'm getting a feed in here. Now, there we go. That's much better. Joining me as always from the booth at Stockley Park. How are we? Dazzler himself. How are we, Darren?
Not too bad, pal. Not too bad at all. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad at all. Crazy day, of course, and weather-wise and everything. And of course, I'd just like to give a shout out to everyone down in Cork and Waterford at the moment who have gotten washed out of their homes. Very
Horrific
and tough and stuff like that. Seeing some of the videos today of lads taking pictures of the bottom of their houses with 3 foot of water in them and stuff like that and all. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because they're in the flood areas as well, they can't really do anything. They can't get insurance. They're not covered. It's all coming out of the pocket. So hopefully the government will step in and hopefully try and do something.
Yeah, I saw some pictures on Facebook and stuff. Friends that I have that kind of live down there and stuff, and not even in their own houses, but just around the area and the the estates and stuff like that. And just like we're getting a little bit of rain, and you're like, oh shit, get over. But these lads are getting washed away. It's really tough,
Yeah, it's when you wake up in the morning and you're nearly doing the breaststroke into your kitchen. That's when you know you have problems,
Absolutely.
But yeah, absolutely. Let's get into that. Just to let you know, folks, we have a poll going at the moment for tonight.
And a Graham poll?
Yeah, pretty much. Graham poll, good one. Yeah, but what it is basically is we're going to be talking a little bit tonight about the new broadcasting deal that's being out for tender at the moment to be concluded in December. So we're asking the question very simply: should the 3 p.m. blackouts be gotten rid of, basically be lifted? Give us a yes or a no. It's 100% so far yes, which is not surprising at all. Now, for most of us in the know, the 3 p.m. blackouts are well and truly lifted. But
when you caught me off guard for a minute, I was like, what 3 p.m. blackouts? Jesus.
Yeah. I'm not talking about whether you're an Irishman sitting in New York. If you know what I mean. But there you go. But yeah, let's get into the comments. Jack is in. By the way, Darren, just so you know, You'll Never Walk Alone 66 is Jack, and he has his own channel. We were talking last night on the wrestling show and stuff. So good to see him back in. Yes, Daz is back with Niall. Good to see you. Acers, Gary O'Neill, Derby. Gary O'Neill, Derby. Interesting. Oh, and a blast from the past. Joanna's back. Hello, boys. I made it. Good to see you, Joanne. Joanne's back, basically. I'd say she's going to be dropping our tips and picks and all and stuff like that. So we will go through the Premier League matches and all that kind of stuff as well. We're going to be talking a bit about Tonali. We're going to be talking a bit about Jesus. The conspiracies going around at the moment, and something. They're not
conspiracies. No, I got to be honest. If I was Newcastle United, I would be steaming. Oh my God. They've stitched Newcastle up rightly. Absolutely stitched them up. Our friend Corvo and his Toon Army getting mugged off here. This is just not cool at all. I got to be honest.
Love it, Joanne. Thanks for sharing it out. Really appreciate it. As always. Niall, if you ever need a profile pic for a live stream, I will always help you out.
Come on, Jack.
We can hear that, yeah, absolutely. We normally have those thumbnails.
Because Jack, I'm technologically challenged. I can just about turn the laptop on my own. So
yeah,
you keep up the good work, Jacko.
We're going to be talking about the broadcasting deal that's coming up and having a look at it and things like that, picking the bones of it, really. So let's start. Let's get into our Premier League preview anyway. And where are we going to start? Other than the Merseyside derby at 12:30 on Saturday. Go on.
Will I put a smile on Jack's face?
I think you will on this one, wouldn't you?
I'll put a smile on Jack's face here. Now, listen, don't forget. This is a little bit of Liverpool's kryptonite here in Sean Dyche. Don't forget, yeah? Because he's had a little bit of success with Burnley at Anfield and at Turf Moor.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, but he knows the recipe, let's say. Sometimes he's able to make it and sometimes he's not. But I think Everton have turned a slight corner for me. Obviously starting to get the boy Dominic Calvert-Lewin back on the pitch. I think Jack Harrison, who came in the summer, is fit again. And Dwight McNeil on the other flank is giving them a little bit of creativity from the flanks and stuff like that. And we know they've got some decent players in the middle. And under Dyche, they're always going to be tight. But I do feel like Liverpool have way too much going into this game. Absolutely way too much. And I think it'll be a typical Merseyside derby. It'll be played at 100-mile-an-hour. But I think that suits Liverpool. I'm going to give you another little... I'll put another smile on Jack's face.
Yeah.
I made a change in my fantasy football team. Yeah?
Okay.
I made a change in my fantasy football team. And I took out Bruno Fernandes. Because he hasn't been performing. And if you're not performing, there's no sentiments involved. It's a business. Bruno got taken out. And I'll tell you who I did put in based on three things. Firstly, based on how good a footballer he is. Secondly, based on the fact his transfer fee is very reasonable. And thirdly, due to the fact that his next 3 games are against Everton, Nottingham Forest and Luton. And I put in Dominic Szoboszlai.
Yeah. I think it's a good shout actually, and he's on fire at the moment.
He played well for Hungary during the week, right?
On fire. Yeah.
He's gonna play games for Liverpool. They've got 3 decent games in the next 3, and he's 1.5 million cheaper than Bruno Fernandes. It's a no-brainer for me, Noel. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big shout. Big shout. I was assuming that you made that change on the back of the disappointing news about the takeover and all that kind of stuff. Maybe there was a little bit of
none of that
towards the club, but we'll talk about
not
that
at
later.
all.
Anyway. What are you going for here? Liverpool versus Everton. Lunchtime kickoff. Sometimes our kryptonite.
3-1 Liverpool.
3-1 Liverpool.
I don't think he'll have a clean sheet, but I think he's enough to score 2 or 3.
Who are you thinking for the goal for Everton? Because I thought this 3-1 as well.
I like the boy Harrison, I've got to say. I think he's a real tidy footballer. Calvert-Lewin, again, has turned a little bit of a corner. And I'll tell you who I really like. I really like the boy Decore. Always pops up with a goal.
I didn't go for any of them.
Who'd you go for?
I went for Tarkovsky off a set piece.
And would you believe he's in my fantasy squad, but I've taken him out for the weekend on the basis that they're away at Anfield. And the likelihood of him keeping a clean sheet is pretty slim, I would have thought.
Acers are going for Beto. Interesting.
Actually, the boy Beto, I don't know if you've seen much of him, has been a little bit goal shy. However, his all-round play has been phenomenal. Been really, really good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, interesting. It's going to be a good one. Nice way to kick off. What a Saturday. When you look at the straight of those fixture lists, what a Saturday we have coming up. You can literally put your feet up from 12 o'clock and don't lift them off the fucking table or off the chair until 10 o'clock Saturday night? Incredible, isn't it? Yeah. And it's just all because I suppose it's because
if you didn't have 3 kids and football matches and work and visits to Nana's house and all that jive, you might be able to.
Now your visit to Nana's house is to put the feet up and watch the football. Don't be acting like you go over there and you're giving a list of chores.
Don't say things like that, Niall. If my wife watches this, she'll find out what I really do on a Saturday.
Absolutely. Right, next one. Bournemouth versus Wolves.
The Gary O'Neill derby, as it's been called. Yeah, I have to be honest.
Big up that.
I really fancy Wolves here. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Bournemouth to come out and get some sort of result, because they have been struggling for results. And I just think that might play into Wolves' hands, because I think Wolves like to play a little bit like that on the counter-attack, as we saw against City, as we saw at Old Trafford, plays into the hands of the likes of the boy Chan, the boy Cunha, and the boy Neto, who have all done very, very well for Wolves on the counter-attack. So I am going for Wolves in this one. I'm going Wolves 2-1.
Yeah, I think, the Bournemouth need to really discover some form, don't they? They're in serious trouble at the moment.
They really are, and I don't like saying it, but I think the choice of manager may be what's hurting Bournemouth here. He's obviously a Spanish manager. He's come into the Premier League. I don't know what the English is like, but if he's struggling to get the message across, you could kind of see why things are getting lost a little bit in translation.
Yeah, absolutely. Corvo's gone for Wolves to slap Bournemouth. Everyone I think around's gone for Wolves.
Yeah,
Anyone
I think
not,
so.
let us know in the chat. Next up, Brentford versus Burnley.
Yeah, this is a big game for both teams, I feel.
Massive.
Massive. You know, Thomas Frank obviously done wonders there at Brentford, but they've been poor this season so far. Obviously, losing their talisman, Ivan Toney, very, very difficult. You can see how much of an impact he has when he doesn't play. And then obviously they've had a couple of injuries at the back as well. The boy Ben Mee has been out so far for the whole season. And then I know the lad Pinnock was out as well, who are two of the lads that play in that back five. And it's been tough for them so far. I think this is going to be Brentford's opportunity to get the show back on the road slightly. I think against a team like Burnley, who will go and try and play football, I think Brentford have enough here to pick them off. And I think I'm just going to favour Brentford here. And I'm going to go 2-1.
Joanne's going the other way. She's going Burnley 1-0. Big shout, of course.
It's a big show.
Yeah, you would think at some stage, wouldn't you, that Brentford have to get it together?
Yeah,
they've lost
absolutely.
their way, haven't they? They've kind of lost their way.
Well, listen, look at what they've lost. They've lost the top and the tail of their team, their goalkeeper and their number 9. And that's right down the spine of that team. You know,
Yeah.
And we talk about how important it is for the spine of the team to be strong. And you've taken out David Raya. The boy Flecken's come in. He's done okay. He hasn't looked great at times. And then obviously Tony's on his ban. And again, they struggle for an out-and-out 9. And that's what's happened. That's the difference.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. And it's just I suppose a lot of our team spoke about how we didn't want the international break to come, that we were playing well and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think in Brentford's case, they were probably happy for it,
I'd
especially
say
the
so.
disappointment of the United game and the way it all unfolded. I'm
Yeah.
sure you had to pick them up off the floor. Jack is in. Mate, I have Anfield agenda. Have you seen he's making lies about James Redmond? And James is such a nice fella. What I've seen of him. I'll tell you what I've had. I've had limited communication with both of them. I find James Redmond very endearing. He's a nice chap and stuff like that. Met him a couple of times at Anfield and stuff like that. Great guy. I've had a little bit of communication with Craig and stuff like that. And again, I found him pretty good to deal with and stuff like that. No issues at all. So it's all good. I can't really tell you either way, sure. But sure, we'll have a look. We'll delve in. We love all that kind of stuff. It's all good. Brentford win. I fear for company. I wonder, when do you think the penny's going to drop a company that he actually needs to put some points on the board and not trying to be Brazil?
Well, I think he's well aware he needs to put points on the board, but I still think, he's going to stick to those guns and try and do things in a certain way. Now, again, is that going to be fatal for him? It might be. But I don't believe we're going to see the best of Vincent Kompany at Burnley, just because of the structure and the limitations to them financially. I think if Kompany was at a bigger club with a bigger budget and better players, this style of football could work perfectly in the Premier League. But I do believe it's difficult when the players aren't of a certain level. And if you look at the team, there's a lot of players that aren't right at that level. And with the limited budget, it's very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Corvo's in. Jack, last time I was saying Anfield agenda, he had a shift on the Mark Goldbridge football show. Corvo, that was the one I think where he logged off then, wasn't he? He was getting awful abuse in the chat at that stage, and I think he just logged off and stuff like that. And since then, he was supposed to I think Craig was supposed to head over to a match last season, and he didn't head over because he was receiving death threats and stuff like that. All sorts of bad stuff going on there, so not good,
Remember that.
What you need, Brentford 3-0.
If it's any use, I'm not a fan of Mark Goldbridge either. But there you go.
Yeah, I watch a lot of these fan channels and stuff like that, and the reason I watch them and stuff like that is because we're in that kind of circle, not in their circle, obviously.
No.
We're in the circle.
We do something similar to what they do. Yeah.
I can appreciate and respect what he does. Do I agree with everything he comes out with? No. But does everyone agree with what we come out with? Probably no either.
Absolutely.
So it's a game of opinions and stuff like that. No, but I can appreciate what they've achieved, like to have over 1 million viewers and nearly 2 million subscribers and stuff like that is incredible.
Yeah, and
incredible.
that's I have a huge amount of respect for that. But I can separate respect from liking you. I don't like Roy Keane. I respect the absolute hell out of him. I'm not a fan of Mark Aldridge. I'm probably a bigger fan of Mark Aldridge than I am Roy Keane. But I respect the hell out of the guy for the job he does and for what he's done. He's just not my cup of tea. That's all.
Did you see Paul Parker during the week going in hard on him?
On Galbraith?
Yeah.
No, didn't say it.
Yeah, went in hard on him and said that he was I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but kind of in around sort of that he was bad for Man United and all this kind of thing, and he was basically a Nottingham Forest fan and all this kind of thing, and all. It was pretty deep. And Mark took it to heart as well. He's pretty upset about it and stuff like that. Big up Bonkers. Thanks for joining us.
I don't think you can be. I don't think you can be upset over things that people say about you when that's their opinion. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to have a thicker skin than that, especially if you're putting yourself out there on social media, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? You need to be understanding that you're putting yourself out there and people are going to take pop shots at you. And it just goes with the territory, unfortunately.
That's interesting about the laptop, isn't it? I seen James. James was on Lee Gunner's channel the other day, and he was having terrible trouble with his Wi-Fi in his laptop. So if it's the same laptop, he might be disappointed that he took it. To be honest, Niall, I told your mad about Jamie's channel as well. Oh yeah, class absolutely. Jamie's top notch. Love Jamie. And James said he could have it back whenever he wants it because Jamie doesn't even use it now. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Daz. And Eno's in. What's happening, lads? Good to see you, Eno.
Hey, Eno.
Jack, damn, that's crazy throwing around accusations like that. Yeah, people just look. This is what happens. City and both teams to score. Okay, let's go. Man City versus Brighton.
City and both teams to score.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I have it me bet later. I imagine there's going to be quite a number of goals in this game. If you told me the end result was 4-2 City before it kicked off, I'd absolutely believe you.
Yeah. Is Rodri back? Rodri's back for this one, isn't he?
This is first one back, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, so this is going to be.
And they look a much better team when Rodri is available. I don't know if you watched any of England the other night, but Calvin Phillips was dreadful, got a yellow, and somehow escaped the second yellow when it was probably close enough to a straight red, and he didn't get the second yellow, and Southgate had to hook him straight away.
Yeah, and
he was dreadful.
Why is the players use the international break then to get mouthy and stuff like that? He's come out as well and said that he wants more minutes or he wants out in January and all this. Like, it's so weird. Like, this is a guy who hasn't really played. Like, and
he should go down and kiss Pep Guardiola's feet for what he's getting there a week at City and for what he's putting forward. Is he fucking for real? Come on now. Jesus wept. Calvin Phillips trying to call the shots. Have a look around that dressing room, pal. There's about 3 people in that dressing room who you're a better footballer than. One of them is the kit man. The other one's the doctor. And the third one's probably the physio. Other than that, you are nowhere near the level of Manchester City. So thank your lucky stars they're willing to pay you 150 bags a week or whatever you're getting out of it. Sit the fuck down.
I don't know whether he's better than the doctor or just best friends with him.
Well, it's one or the other.
Absolutely. Craig was in Spain during international break. Okay, interesting.
I feel like everyone should be in Spain in the international break.
I know, yeah. Mate, I hate Anfield agenda. All he does is sit on his arse. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he hasn't been to Anfield before. I think he has. He has been to Anfield before. I don't know if you're confusing. You know who Sam on This Is Football? He hasn't been to Anfield yet, so maybe you're confusing. But I know Craig has definitely been over there as far as I know. Man City 2, Brighton 2. Big shout, Joanne. Big shout, Joanne. Be great for the Arsenal if that was to happen. That'd be a massive one. Newcastle versus Crystal Palace.
Yeah, this is Newcastle
territory.
This is Newcastle getting back on the trail after they're dropping points at West Ham the last day out. You know, this is Newcastle getting back on it at home. I think they're missing the boy Sven Botman. which would be a big miss because he's super defender. Really done a great job there at Newcastle. But I think Newcastle have loads in it here, like creating an awful lot of chances with the boy Isak and Gordon and Callum Wilson and stuff like that. And I think this has got Newcastle written over it. And I'm going to go Newcastle. And I'm going to go 3-0.
3-0 Newcastle. Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Hope
Yeah,
Corvo likes
Palace
that
again.
one.
Yeah, I think Palace missing. They're missing Eze, aren't they? And
yeah,
they're missing a couple of key players and stuff like that, and they just don't have that to maintain it. Jack, you don't have to worry about that. I generally don't get involved heavily in any way at all with other channels and stuff like that. I'm just saying to you, any interaction I've had with both has always been reasonable and positive. So I don't have anything to say about either, and I don't get involved in the drama either at all. I sit back on the sidelines with the popcorn and I enjoy it. That's my modus. Dazzler, what's your predicted lineup for Saturday? We'll get into that now in a second.
We will get into that later, yeah, absolutely.
Forest versus Luton.
Yeah, Forest for me, I think obviously they're missing the boy Wunyi, and he's a huge miss for them because I think he had 7 and 7 until he picked up the injury and stuff like that. So really doing well he was, but I don't think Luton will have enough here to get over the line. I think with Alanga and Hudson-Odoi, and then the likes of Morgan Gibbs-White and stuff like that, I think Forest will have enough here and they'll get over the line in this game. I don't think it'll be pretty, but I think they'll get over the line, and I'll go Forest 3-1.
Corvo. Calvin Phillips couldn't call it an Uber, never mind orders.
Absolutely.
I hope we don't go near them up. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I don't think he's going your way. There's talk of him being linked with West Ham. There was actually talk of him being linked with us, and I just laughed. I think James has forgot about you, Noel. I'm not that sure though, because when I mentioned you, he didn't know what I was on about. No surprise. They weren't big meetups or anything like that. It was basically just after matches where we just have conversations after the game and stuff like that. It wasn't that huge or anything. Ted's in 4-0 Newcastle. Big scoreline there.
Yeah, I don't think you're that far away, Ted.
Yeah, could be a slap up all right. And Daz is going for 2-0. Niall, for tomorrow, could you try and message James to come on for the preview? And Daz, what a trio that would be. Yeah, listen, I'd love James to come on. He's probably doing his own one and stuff like that. James is flat out at the moment. If you look at James's content at the moment, forget about looking at his own channel. Don't let that confuse you. He's on so many fan channels at the moment and stuff like that. He does be on Hussans. He does be on League Gunners. He's on a good few of them at the moment. I got a cold, had it all week, so we'll be putting my feet up Saturday. Absolutely, Joanne. That's the way to go. And Bonkers is in 3-1 Newcastle. Yeah. 3-1 Newcastle. Yeah, there'll definitely be goals in it. Yes, Daz, I agree, you legend. 3-1 Newcastle. Where am I? And big congratulations, Alexandra, for getting awarded in her school for Child of the Achievement 2023. Big up to Alexandra. Shout out to Ian's daughter there. Super stuff, Alexandra. If you're sitting there watching it with the pops, fair play to you. By the way, I'm warning you and Daz. By the way, I wasn't saying stay away from Daz too. Absolutely not. That would never be the case. 3-0 from Daz. Bonkers. Forest 1, Luton 1. That's a big shout. Joanne's in as well. Forest 2, Luton 1. And Ted's in 1-1 Forest and Luton, I reckon. Interesting. Some calls coming in there. Both teams to score. Okay. Where are we? Chelsea versus Arsenal. What way is this going to go?
I've Arsenal and both teams to score, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea obviously have really started to put a better foot forward in recent weeks. Starting to tighten up at the back a little bit. And also, putting performances going forward, but I still don't think they're as clinical as they need to be. Still missing that number 9. Still missing, obviously, Christopher Nkunku, to come in and play at number 10 and back somebody up and stuff like that. Really think this has Arsenal written all over it. I think it's a good time for Arsenal to go there. Because, again, I think there's a certain amount that Pochettino wants from that side. And I think he wants them to play a little bit of football, and I think again that'll play into Arsenal's hands. I've got Arsenal 2-1 in this one. This is where I see it anyway.
You think it'll be tight enough, yeah?
I think it'll be tight. Like, I don't think they'll slap them up at all. I think the scoreline may be tighter than the performance, let's say. It might be a better performance, but they may struggle to just get over the line. But I do think they'll do it. I think they'll do it 2-1.
Yeah, what you make of Reece James while we're talking about Chelsea and stuff like that? A lot of talks in a lot of Chelsea content creators the other day saying that a big decision is going to have to be made on this guy. Obviously, only after being made captain, which is kind of like a kind of a kiss of death. Since then, he's had nothing but injury worries and so, or injury problems now. What do you make? Do you see Chelsea having to make a decision on this boy the way things are going, or do you think this is just a run of bad luck?
No, I don't. If I'm honest, I think there's an awful lot of clubs should be looking at players like this. You know, guys who are really, really good footballers are only really, really good footballers when they're on the pitch. Like, if I'm looking at, I could probably pick 4 or 5 players from 4 or 5 different teams here. You know, let's just have a very quick look at, let's have a very quick look, obviously, at Chelsea and Reece James, right? But the same can be said about Everton and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Do you know what I mean? The same can be said about Aston Villa and Leon Bailey. The same can be said about Rafael Varane and Manchester United. These are all really, really good footballers, and we're aware of that, and they've got a certain amount of talent and ability. However, the bare minimum you need to do is be able to get on the pitch every week physically. And the 4 lads I've mentioned there, Calvert-Lewin, Varane, Reece James, and the boy Leon Bailey of Villa, they can't do it for some reason. There's something stopping them from getting on the pitch week in, week out and building momentum because the body is breaking down first. That can't happen at this level and with what these guys are getting paid and how they're being looked after.
Yeah, I remember when I was listening to it the other day, I was reflecting back to Daniel Sturridge and the conversations he had to have with Jurgen Klopp. If you remember Jurgen Klopp telling him that he needed to kind of, in a roundabout way, man up, that a lot of the issues he was talking about were just knocks and not injuries, and that it was a mental thing and a mentality thing, really, and stuff like that. Yep. Now, whether that's the case or not, we don't know. We're not privy to what's there and stuff like that. But it's it probably does wear on these boys mentally as well, doesn't it? That like the slightest little tackle or someone goes in on stuff like that, straight away they think they're injured when it might be just a knock that they need to brush off or something.
Listen, we know that the footballers of today aren't the footballers of yesterday. We know that. And obviously, with the evolution of the sport, the lads are now in peak physical condition, which means pulling muscles and stuff like that is much easier to happen because they're finely tuned athletes. However, there are a number of lads in the league that just don't seem to be able to keep it together for long enough. And like we've mentioned a couple of them there. There's more. Like, I don't like saying it, but so far, the boy Evan Ferguson at Brighton has been exactly the same. He's shown us a bit of leg, and then he sat down. He's shown us a bit of leg, and then he sat down. That's happened him 3 or 4 times now. We know Callum Wilson at Newcastle is similar. He's a guy that suffers from a lot of injuries. You know, these are all good footballers. But if you cannot get on that pitch, and that's why one of the reasons, and I'm going to use who Daz has put forward there as an example. That's one of the reasons Bukayo Saka is so good, because he's there every single week. He makes himself available. You see the tackles he takes, he's back up. Another tackle, back up. He's so robust. He's so durable. It's not that he's a big guy, but I absolutely believe he's got a huge heart. I think a couple of the lads need to look at that.
Yeah, do you know what I'd say about Saka as well? And I have a fair good feeling about this. Morris has told me, and we've had conversations, a lot of conversations going around about Saka, that he is carrying an Achilles issue and that he has to be kind of cotton wool through things and stuff like that and all. But I don't believe for 1 minute we see that 120% Bukayo Saka, because I reckon he plays a lot of games where he's not 100% and he's still outstanding.
And that's a mentality thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's having the right kind of attitude and mentality. And we talk about it all the time. You know, like, people literally need to look at Rafael Varane and he's injured. And I love the guy. He's a super centre-back. We look such a better team when he's in the team. But if you can't get there week on week, like I personally would ship him out of Old Trafford. And there's a lot of fans will be listening to me going, he's our best defender. Why would you sell him? He's only our best defender if he's on the pitch. And
Look at us with Thiago.
For six
Look at
out
us
of
with Thiago.
six out
Bonkers
of
mention.
10 get Thiago, there you go. For 6 out of 10 games, Varane's not on that pitch. So if he's only playing at 40%, what chance have you got? Thiago's a great shout as well, by the way. Bonkers.
Yeah, Bonkers.
A great shout.
Bonkers at Thiago. Yeah, myself and Bonkers have talked about Thiago a number of times. It's so frustrating to be that, that good a footballer and that skillful and to have that footballing knowledge and not to be able to step out onto that hollow ground every week and stuff like that must be so frustrating. Jordan Ibe, there's a show from Jack as well. How good was Jordan Ibe's ceiling and his potential at one stage, and to see that fall off and stuff like that, crazy stuff.
I don't necessarily think the biggest issue with Jordan Ibe was injury though. I think the biggest problem with Jordan Ibe was attitude, because mentality. Absolutely. Because we've seen guys like this come down the road. We could name 10 Jordan Ibes who we thought were going to be big footballers and fell off a cliff because when they saw a little bit of success, they took their foot off the pedal completely and everything passed them by. And this is a regular occurrence in that Premier League. I
think Jack is right as well. I think when Jordan left us as well, he did have a run of injuries as well, though. So it's a good shout, Jack. Good shout there.
Sheffield United. That's probably, sorry to go across you, that's probably what makes the likes of, a Ronaldo and a Messi so good. Yeah. Because they were young players at one stage and they saw a bit of daylight and they saw the bright lights and they embraced them, but they kept getting better. They didn't want that glass ceiling sitting on their head. They broke the glass ceiling. They went as far as it would take them. And you see yourself, like there's so many players like that just are happy to look at Ansu Fati at Brighton. He was the biggest thing in world football 3 years ago. Yeah, and now he's on loan at Brighton.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting you say it to me as well. I meant to message you today, and I was going to send you like a picture. I was watching Arsenal versus Man United at Old Trafford. Remember when Arsenal won the league? 99, wasn't it? Arsenal won the league at Old Trafford.
Wasn't 99 now.
Was it? What year? No,
we won the treble that year.
No, what year was it? Can't remember. Will Tord scored
Mark
the goal.
Overmars. Oh yeah.
Will Tord.
It's about 2001.
Yeah, they were in the gold jersey, the Sega.
That's right, with the blue stripe. Yeah.
And I was looking at it, and the tackles were flying in. I was watching it with Ben. Ben's out sick with the flu at the moment. I was watching it with Ben, and he goes, VAR would have had a goal, mine. He said the lads were flying in on the tackles. I think playing at the back was Laurent Blanc playing at the back for you at that stage.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, and he went in on the
Larry
tackle,
White.
and his own shorts ended up around his balls and stuff. The tackle was so rough and stuff. And I remember there was another tackle in midfield. Kane, I think, won a ball back or something like that, and it was unbelievable. But the tackles were sensational. Nowadays, it's just madness when you think about it. Yeah, no, Ace are saying 98, is it? Let me go back to my comments. Footballers today get on my nerve. You have to breathe on them, and they're on the medical table. Yeah,
absolutely, Corvo.
Arteta will burn Saka out. It's inevitable. Yeah,
I don't think that's a bad show.
Yeah, he's gone the same way Joanne reckons as Wilshere went. He's more. He's way more durable than Jack Wilshere. That's
way more durable.
Way more
and
durable.
The other thing is, he doesn't play in that position where he's coming into contact as much. Okay, he's a winger, but if he gets the ball out of his feet and gets a pass on when he's a free runner, Jack Wilshere was playing in centre midfield where it was tackle.
Yeah.
So, and he was a much smaller guy, Wilshere, than Saka, who isn't huge either.
Yeah. I was actually, when she mentioned Jack Wilshere there, I was watching that goal he scored. Remember the goal he scored where he went on the run and he bet about 3 or 4 players or something? Yeah. It was class.
Was it Norwich?
I think it was, yeah. What a guy with so much potential as well. He was a serious baller.
But they just fell off, just couldn't get on the pitch.
Yeah. Sheffield United versus Man United. Give us your thoughts on this and give us what you think your starting 11 is. A lot of injury news coming in, or potential injury news. Rasmus, Amrabat, all pulling out of international duty and stuff like that and all. Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm gonna call a couple of couple of shots here because I think some of the lads, fell off a cliff.
Huge.
I think some of the lads here were in protection mode, knowing how big these next couple of games are for United. I personally fully expect Hoyland to start on Saturday night. I know we had a tough game the other night because I saw some of the challenges that were going in. Did you? He was a marked man.
Yeah.
He was a marked man. He actually spoke about how San Marino speak Italian. And obviously he's come from Atlanta, so he understood some of what they said. And there was a lot of like, we need to nail this fucker kind of thing, you know. And that's I thought those kind of days in football were long gone, if I'm honest. Because remember, and whether it's Rasmus Hoyland or no matter who it is, guys shouldn't go onto a football pitch and not be able to play in 4 or 5 days' time because guys have put an X on their back. Do you know what I mean? That's not playing the game in the right kind of way.
You know, when you're saying that to me, I'm thinking of the conversation we had the other day where you told me Coote was the VAR official for the Merseyside derby.
For the derby. Yeah.
He was the guy who ref the game. Remember when Pickford took
but his kung fu
Pickford
kick
robbed Van Dijk of 18 months of his career and potentially a lot more.
I would say he's robbed him of an awful lot more of it than 18 months.
Absolutely.
Because Virgil van Dijk has never, ever looked the same player since he came back. And that's down to Jordan Pickford.
I know, yeah.
What team? I think, as far as I heard, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is back in the building, which is great. Because it means then we can have Dalot play on the opposite side. So if we can get Wan-Bissaka and Dalot as the 2 fullbacks, we'll obviously have to put 2 centre-backs in. I think we might see Maguire and Evans. 2002. I think we might see Maguire and Evans alongside Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. We'll still see Onana. I do expect Casemiro's off the out. I do expect we'll see Amrabat. And I imagine we'll see Fernandez and obviously McTominay after throwing his hat in the ring the last day. And then you're talking Rashford and probably Mount and Hoyland.
Here's a question for you. You're putting McTominay. Where's McTominay going into? Where are you putting him?
He's going in midfield. He'll be one of your 8s. Yeah. He's one of your 8. Well, Hoyland plays as the 9. Bruno will play on the right and Rashford will play on the left. And then your 2 8s will be Mount and McTominay. And they'll be backed up by Amrabat and then the back 4 with the keeper. That's what I expect.
Did you hear the reports going around today that the whispers going around about Onana could be potentially on the way back to Inter?
I don't see it happening myself.
Doubt it very much as well, yeah. Ted is in mentioning Pogba as well. I suppose the only thing about Pogba is he has played well and he has won stuff, you know, so it's completely different.
He has, but there's definitely
he should have been a megastar, yeah.
There's you've got a mix of both, which is the injuries that he suffered from and the mentality of that glass ceiling. Because I personally don't think there should be a better midfielder in the world than Paul Pogba with the attributes he has. But I think because of his attitude and because of that kind of laissez-faire, that just strolling around the place, and that swagger he has about him, I think it damages him massively.
Yeah, good show. Rashford as well. I don't feel he reached where he could have. Said it to Greg 2 or 3 years ago. It's swapping for Saka or Martinelli. Yeah, I think
I'd swap him for Saka. I wouldn't swap him for Martinelli. I wouldn't swap him for Martinelli because, again, I think with Rashford, the ability is there. I think Arsenal get an awful lot out of Martinelli for what he is, whereas I think we only get enough out of Rashford for what his level is. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I think with Rashford as well, I think he was probably badly managed, wasn't he, through the Ollie era?
He's had, he has been poorly managed, but I think there's a lot of you got to put on his own shoulders because I think a lot of the time mentally Marcus goes missing. You know, I think he does. Yeah. I think he goes on that run and he gets in that vein of form, and then I think it's mentality that stops it.
Yeah.
Listen to Eric Ten Hag. Eric Ten Hag firmly believes he should be scoring a goal a game with the type of ability he has. And if you see the goal he scored the other night, don't forget it's never easy scoring goals against Italy. You look at how well he took the goal the other night, put it away really well. What's stopping that game to game? Well, it's got to be him. You know what I mean? Because the opportunities are still there, but he doesn't take them. One thing I will say about him is his decision-making process for me
Yeah.
as a top-level footballer is really poor.
Yeah.
Really poor.
Yeah, that
and if I
final
look
decision making.
and if I look at somebody like Saka, who does, I think Rashford reaches a certain level of what Saka does. But the difference with Saka is he finds that pass, he picks that pass, he scores that goal. Whereas I think with Rashford, the decision-making process isn't there all the time. And I would go back to our friend Simon Jordan in Talksport. He's a speedboat with no brain. Was that what he said about him?
Yeah.
Wasn't it something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Like
he's kind of hit the nail on the head if I'm honest.
You actually do get that with a lot of players, when they're in full flight and they're running and stuff like that. Their decision making, just how many balls do they run out on the end line and stuff like that? No, just bad decision making. Joanne mentioned Overmars there. Joanne, do you know who I was looking at today as well? Freddie Ljungberg. What a player Freddie Ljungberg was. Unbelievable. And do you know what else, Darren, I was looking at as well, and I picked up on it, and probably because we dropped the new Beckham episode on the channel, the career one that we did a good few, God, must be well over a year and a half ago at this stage, but we put it up there, and the documentary. I was looking at Beckham's delivery into the box. My God, just incredible.
Just
Incredible.
Able to put on a sixpence.
Do you know, it frustrates me about my own team, because my own team just launch balls into the box, just, without any kind of, that's the guy I'm going for, picking guys out and stuff that they just lob them in there. And you see it with so many teams now, and I'm often saying
they're putting them in areas rather than putting them onto somebody's head.
And I say it to Ben, I even said it to Ben during the Brighton game, pick a player out, will you? Put it to the player. Don't be just lobbing it into the charge,
if you've got the ability to put it in a square, why not put it on the guy's head and give him something to go at, right?
Yeah. Ben Arthur could have been big, but his attitude was honking. Yes, attitude often gets on the
Corvo will remember this. He scored a goal for Newcastle. It was away at West Brom at the Hawthorns. Ben Arthur did. I think he went through about 6 or 7 of them, dropped the shoulder, shimmied, and beat the keeper. And the game wasn't live on Sky. It was the opposite game. So there was a 4:00 kickoff on Sky. But at halftime, all they were showing you was this goal from the other game. And you're looking at this and you're going, my God, this guy has so much ability. But another Frenchman with, very limited headspace for me, and a guy that couldn't keep himself on the straight and narrow and do the things that he needed to do to get to the level that he was ultimately able to play at,
Yeah, I'll make this easier for you. Oh, by the way, next Wednesday, we're check your diary. I know Tuesday United are playing the Champions League, so you want to see that. So Wednesday, Pro Wrestling Weekly, we're doing our Mount Rushmore. So check your diary. I might have to adjust the times and stuff like that. See what you can do.
Well, if you want me to be there, you'll definitely have to adjust your times because I work late on a Wednesday.
Yeah, well, just let me know. Let me know what time you want to do the show.
We'll have a discussion.
Because I said to them last night on the show as well, I have a few caps and T-shirts that I'm trying to find homes for. So what we said was we'd have a look at the Mount Rushmores that come in, and based on that, I wanted people to tell me the kind of oddball ones, if they put them in there, why they've put them in.
Yeah.
And we will send out a few caps and hats to people and stuff like that as a little bonus for doing it, because I'm really looking forward to that show. I'm gonna make this one easier for you. Give me your United Mount Rushmore. Not just because the football one is just too broad.
Give me my United Mount Rushmore. Of any era?
You just give me your 4 you'll put in the wall. It doesn't matter to me. It's
George Best.
George, yeah, absolutely.
George Best.
Or if you want to make it easier, give me from your fandom, if you like, from your time. If you want to go,
I'll give you George Best. I'll give you Bobby Charlton. I'll give you Eric Cantona. And I'll round it off with Wayne Rooney.
Are you watching the new documentary out about the court
Not
case with the
yet,
parties?
but I might be finding a little bit of time later for it.
Well, I'll give you a laugh. I've watched the 3 episodes, right? And every time I sit down to watch them, after 20 minutes, I'm called away to do something. So I'm
Right.
working my way through it pace by pace. But it's fascinating stuff. I tell you, Colleen Rooney,
Yeah, I bet.
very underestimated. That girl knows her stuff. I tell you, interesting.
Now this is a long time ago. I came out of a game, and in the Rooney years,
Look
came
at
out
look
of a
at look at
game.
this. Look at this trying to trigger both of us. Look. Remember he did this last time?
What's wrong with him?
A millionaire, stop cuddling them. Remember we had that? That
Listen.
was a good one.
Yeah. I came out of Old Trafford, and we were heading towards the back, where the players come back out after the game and stuff like that. The players' entrance. It's kind of cordoned off at the back of Old Trafford, just beside the Munich tunnel. And I was walking through the Munich tunnel. I think I had Andrew with me. I definitely had Andrew with me. And he was a bit smaller at this stage, and I had him by the hand and stuff like that. And the next minute, there's a pram right beside me. And I kind of look at this pram, and I'm like, and I look at the girl, and I'm like, oh, there you are. And it was Colleen, and it was the first Rooney. Now, on my right is Coy the youngest, or Coy the oldest. Coy is the oldest, I think.
No idea.
As far as I remember, Coy is the oldest. And I think it was Coy in the thing. And I says, oh, how's he getting on? And she was like, oh, yeah, great, bloody bland. I says, we just won. And she was like, yeah, that'll be in good humour anyway, bloody bland. Like, we're walking just through the Munich tunnel here.
Yeah.
There's no airs and grace about this girl. Just cool. She's like walking with all the fans, with the kid. She got up to the gate. She gave your man the nod. Your man pulled the 2 security gates, popped through with the thing. In she went. Job done. Not a bother. And when we came out, we were standing at the front of the guardrail. And she obviously had seen Andrew at that stage. And when she came out, she gave him the nod. She gave Wayne the nod and pointed to the kid and said, go over and sign. And over he came. Gave the little thing. Only signed for kind of 2 or 3 where we stood, because she had given him the nod to say, they're the lads I talked to coming through the yoke. Signed, nice. And off he went. And he just went down.
That's a nice thing, isn't it? That's a nice story.
Really, man. Really is.
What about Clooney, Darren? I often think of Clooney. I seen him playing a few weeks ago, and I think of him. To me, he's the R-Truth of football, isn't he? Because he's always looked 40. Hasn't he? He's always looked 40. Someone in the chat tell me, have you ever seen Clooney not looking 40? Isn't that such a comparison? Isn't he the R-Truth of football? There's no doubt about it. Yeah, but he was quite the baller.
Jack, I gotta be honest. He was decent, but he was never close to being amazing. Let's not go too far.
No.
He was never close to being unbelievable. He played in a really good Liverpool team, by the way.
Yeah.
A really good Liverpool team under Brendan Rodgers. But he was okay.
He was generally consistently a 6 or a 7, but rarely a 9.
He was a 7 every week.
Yeah.
He was that kind of guy, that Mr. Dependable, absolutely. That's the kind of guy he was, but he was never, he was never in the plans of Real Madrid. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Ben was asking me, Ben was a big fan of him back when he was younger and stuff like that. And we were only talking about it there a couple of weeks ago when we seen him playing. I said, Ben, isn't he the R-Truth of football?
That's the best shout I've heard in a long time, by the way.
All right, Ab Morris is Saka back or injured still for Saturday.
Daz is obviously asking because he wants now for fantasy.
Either fantasy or the betting docket.
No, it's fantasy. It's definitely fantasy.
Definitely fantasy. Yeah. Don't forget, folks, our fantasy show will be out tomorrow night.
Daz, am I right? Is it fantasy, pal? He'll tell me now.
Yeah, definitely fantasy, I'd say. Yeah, at Jack, Klein was Rolls Royce of a right back in the day. Big show.
You tell you what.
Facts, bro.
He's no Kieran Trippier.
That's a mirror.
What a player he is.
Yeah. Haaland will be destroying Onana next Sunday. We shall see.
And as Martin Tyler would say, I'm going to see it live.
Yeah, interesting. All right. Next up, is it Sunday? The only game on Sunday.
I didn't give you a result in the United game.
Oh, sorry, did you not? Go ahead there.
No, 2-1 United.
2-1. That tight. Okay, interesting.
Have you seen us play football recently?
Sorry, when you say 2-1 United, which United now are you talking about here? I know because
of
you
Manchester.
kind of okay, United of Manchester. Yeah, that good Pro
Yeah,
Evo
sorry.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aston Villa versus West Ham. It's a good game.
It's not a bad game. It's absolutely not a bad game.
Remember the last time we said on one of these games that looks like a really good game. It was a 0-0 or something, wasn't it? Something crap.
Was it?
Yeah, it was terrible. One of
Was
those
it?
games we called a few weeks ago. Yeah, we said I'm really looking forward to this one. Should be end to end, plenty of goals. Finish 0-0, and we were both messaging each other on WhatsApp. There we go.
Yeah, I don't see anything other than Villa here. I don't see anything other than Villa. I think Villa at home, I think is a really big side at the minute under Emery. And yeah, I think there'll be goals though. I don't think Villa will shut them out. I think they've been a little bit open at times, Villa, and because of the style of football they play. But I do think Villa will get over the line here, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 3-2 Aston Villa.
Yeah, plenty of goals.
Plenty of goals.
I'm gonna go 3-2 West Ham because I think Aston Villa this season have been slightly hit and miss, and I think a lot of it has happened on the back end of breaks, hasn't it? From what I believe. And a guy that I'm a big fan of, Jared Bowen, he'll be in full flight.
I looked at him earlier. When I took Bruno out of fantasy, I thought maybe, and then I scrolled a little more, and I'd no money left in the bank. So when I sold Bruno, I freed up a bit of funds. So I said to myself, "What if I can go in with Big Dom here in the next 3 games? He's got 3 handy ones." I said that'll free me up to maybe do a little bit in defence, and then maybe I can make another switch in weeks to come. And I was thinking ahead. So, but I do like Bowen. I think Bowen's a great footballer.
Yeah. Let's round it out. Corvo's in talking about Adeyemi as well from Dortmund will be great for Liverpool as well. He's a guy me and you have spoke about quite a bit, Darren, haven't we? During our transfer shows and stuff like that. Yeah. Well suited.
He is, but I don't necessarily see that as like and I see Jack obviously talking about Makuko.
Yeah.
Earlier on, I don't necessarily think it's what Liverpool need at the minute. Do you? Like another attacking player?
Yeah.
Like
I think a lot of this talk is coming out because obviously we've the AFCON, so Salah's going off, and also on top of that as well, the talk out there at the moment is basically he's going to exit the building in the summer.
Yeah, and I mean you might need to do something then, but like if I'm looking short term at what has to be done at Liverpool, it's certainly not in the forward line. It's more in that centre back, that centre midfield, and that right back role. Like that's where I'm looking at the minute, if I'm honest.
Or if he does exit the building. Just saying.
Wish.
I have a dream. There you go. What else can I say?
You're back to your youth. That's your wet dream, is it?
It's as close to it.
Is this Jude Bellingham part 2?
In my mind, yes. So that's why I don't talk about it too much. But I had it there because I knew we'd kind of be talking as January approaches. Because
by the way, if Madrid decide to put him in there as well, Musiala alongside Bellingham, and then possibly Mbappe when he becomes available next summer, we can just start handing over Champions Leagues and save ourselves the fucking hassle. Seriously.
Jack is in here with the conspiracy talking about the bird certs again. That must be on the back of me talking about Clooney being like R-Truth.
What I was watching last night, I don't know if you've seen it. It's on Netflix. It's called Hustle by Adam Sandler, and he's a scout for the Philadelphia Sixers. And he goes to scout these various different basketball players, and he's in Eastern Europe. And he's looking at this one guy, and he's an absolute tank, and he's dunking on lads, and he's blocking the rim, and he's doing everything. And at the end of it, he says to your man, "Okay, so I just have a couple of questions." He said, "How old are you?" Your man says, 22, like this, right? And he's like, "You're 22?" And he goes, Yeah, I'm 22. And then the next minute, this kid and this woman walk from like the locker room area. And when he comes over, the kid's like bigger than Sander as well. And he's huge, right? And your man turns around and he goes, "Oh, this is my son." And Sander's like, "But you're 22." And he goes, "Oh, yes, he's only 10. Now he's like a brick house." And your man's like, "Okay." And you just see him getting scratched off the list then, Obviously, those good passports. He said, "Documents get destroyed in fire."
You gotta love that. You gotta love that Rooney documentary and the Vardy one and stuff like that. And all. Does a? You mean the story?
Corvo.
Most anyway.
Corvo. Well, I'll give you two of them, Corvo, but there's two of them shouldn't be anywhere near it. Solano's a stretch.
It is.
Solano is a stretch. I tell you what, I'm having Peter Beardsley over Solano every day of the week and twice on a Sunday, right? And I don't think Andy Cole is near it either, personally.
Really? Oh,
I don't. Only me. And I tell you, if I didn't have Andy Cole there, I'd have Rob Lee. What a stalwart he was there at Newcastle.
Yeah, Rob Lee.
Take out Solano and Cole, and you're going in with Beardsley and Rob Lee.
Rob Lee was a sensational player, wasn't he?
He was great. He's won those 7 out of 10s, wasn't he? Every week.
Yeah. Without delving
recognition.
Didn't
get the recognition he wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, without delving into it too much, I'd have to, just for those front flips, I'd have to go with Fastino, would you?
No.
No?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
He was just so cool when he scored. Oops, on Tranmere Rovers and all that. Yeah, absolutely. Does Klein know what's up, though?
I bet she does.
Just got off the cell phone with Ian. He should be back in a few weeks. Great fella. Oh my God. Bet Dazzler, mate. Get him in the fancy. There you go. That was the fancy Premier League you were talking about. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm going to get into reading this winter. Got George Best book to read and Fergie and Arsene Wenger. All very, very good books. Villa 2, West Ham 2.
And if you don't sleep well after reading them books,
yeah, well, I'm going to, yeah, or at least have a drink. Just saying. Round out Monday, then Tottenham versus Fulham. And
Spurs, in a word, Spurs.
Yeah, Spurs.
Yeah, Spurs for me. 2-0, Spurs. Back on the clean sheet trail for Spurs.
Interesting. They might have a couple of guys out though, don't they? Is Son a doubt? Got injured, I think.
Not sure.
International duty. I heard Son, and who was the other one I heard? Was it Christian Romero?
Not sure.
Something like that. I was listening to a Spurs channel there the other day for my sins. Can we stay on for longer, please?
So you think we get paid by the fucking hour or what?
No. What Jack doesn't realise is we're two married men with kids.
Right. And heaps of them. We've 3 kids each, Jack.
So the fact that we get on at all is a miracle. The fact that we get on at all is a miracle.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a good evening to Emery. Yeah.
Sure is.
I don't know. West Ham. I'm thinking West Ham. Please, FSG. Please. Musiala, no chance.
No chance.
The only way, Jack, we're getting Musiala is if FSG exit the building and that good lad from Qatar heads down the motorway and decides it's Liverpool instead of United.
And I still think
still goes to Real.
Stretch. No, well, because I just think, like, what's it going to cost you to get him out of Bayern? Like,
what do you think of Joanne here? Joanne's, of course, an Arsenal fan. I want Simeone at Arsenal. He's another. What's your thoughts on that?
On Simeone?
What's your thoughts, Arsenal? I think Arsenal would be.
I've got to be honest, and people are going to have lots of things to say when I say this. I wouldn't let him manage the fucking local team, and that's honest to God. He's not my cup of tea whatsoever. If you look at the absolute shite Atletico Madrid go on with and the way they play and the style of football, it's nothing that you would want for your football team, especially not a team like Arsenal, Joanne, who are a free-flowing footballing team, Diego Simeone would absolutely murder that. And going to the Emirates week on week would become fucking unbearable. Because it happened to us under Jose Mourinho. And you have to be careful what you wish for. Diego Simeone is anti-football. He's anti-football. He might get you results, but you will not be able to watch it, or you'll have to put their hands over your eyes. Not for me.
Did I read somewhere before the international break that, or maybe a few weeks just before it, they were the top goal scorers in La Liga, even though they're anti-football? It's an interesting conundrum, isn't it? I think it was someone mentioned. I think it was on Lee's channel. He mentioned it that there's a theory out there about this anti-football. But yet they rack up the goals. Now, we've seen them play and stuff like that. So, like when I hear
seen them play live.
Yeah, but when I hear that, I think kind of Spurs and Conte level. That's
now you have it.
100%. Feeling I get, and I just wouldn't risk it. Be careful what you wish for at times. Musiala, Klopp and Musiala link up though, father and son, please, FSG. Nah, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Shay Given's in. Philip Albert Corvo. Yeah, I was thinking of Philip Albert. I always remember Philip Albert.
You're literally only putting him in for the chip on Schmeichel, though.
Absolutely. And the moustache.
How much did he look like your man Remy from Hello Hello?
I'm a Liverpool fan, so back then I loved moustaches, remember?
You loved a good moustache, you sure did.
Yeah. Come on, Jack's going mad for Musiala. He wants his Musiala. Faxtas agreed, he's awful.
I wouldn't be into him at all.
Yeah. Papa Cisse just for his goal versus Chelsea. Isn't it mad the way we just associate them with those moments, isn't it? And stuff like that and all. It's crazy. Terry Butcher was a good player. Terry Butcher, now, there's a guy who didn't suffer anything mental in terms of going on the pitch and injured and stuff like that and all. Good Lord, that's a guy who absolutely bled for his teams and for England. Unbelievable. What a player. That bonkers. That was a scorcher of a finish. Yeah. Absolutely. Unbelievable.
Sure was.
Did you hear about the FA Cup and League Cup replay and the second legs getting scrapped? About time.
Well, it's been scrapped in the League Cup for a long time, right?
Yeah.
We go to penalty straight away in the League Cup.
Yeah.
And the FA Cup, again, I think the only reason you would keep it in the FA Cup is for the financial gains that some of the smaller clubs could make getting the draw at home, you know? Obviously, if you're away at an Old Trafford or an Anfield or an Arsenal and you can get some sort of result and drag them back to wherever you're playing, that's financially, could be your future, you know?
Eric Cantona from Mount Rushmore for his version of Sweet Chin Music. Jack's gonna have to get into wrestling. Jack's a lot of wrestling stuff coming through on this at times. Bro, listen to the song Strangers, it's a tune. Absolutely. Spurs 2, Fulham 2. That'd be a huge result, you want. That'd be a great result for the league. It's an interesting, the fixtures just this week, they're very interesting. They could tie the league up nicely, nice and tight. I'm gonna put in on my Prem predictions. Yeah, absolutely. Off topic, did you guys see the Von Erichs movie trailer? I did.
I see the trailer.
It's unbelievable. Did you see the clip where the Freebirds are in the ring? Whoever casted them deserves an Oscar.
Actually, you know what? Zac Efron looks like he's doing a really good job.
Absolutely. But if you see if you watch the clip, you know when the three boys get in the ring and the Freebirds are there and the Freebirds run the ropes with them. My God, whoever cast the Freebirds deserves an Oscar. Honestly, Michael Hayes is just, it's going to be class. Cannot wait for it. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be solid.
I don't think you're going in to watch that without their handkerchiefs.
No.
That's going to be a tearjerker.
Listen, I've shed a number of tears on the Von Erichs on a lot of their documentaries and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I often turn around and say as well, Kevin as well, who's still alive. Tough carrying that baggage.
Absolutely.
MJF in the movie. There you go. Zac Efron, top tier actor. Looks the part.
Great in High School Musical.
Now, Corvo, this is where the show takes a bit of a turn.
Oh no.
We have to chat about this.
Oh no.
We do have to chat about this. So, Corvo, if this is going to upset you, we understand. Let us know.
let's be honest. If we're Newcastle fans, it's upsetting us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thoughts? Give me your thoughts on it.
I gotta be honest. I just think Newcastle have been stitched up something terrible. They really, really have. They stumped up a huge transfer fee for Tonali like that. Brought him in to play Champions League football upon the return, and now it's all in serious jeopardy. And I don't believe for 1 minute AC Milan didn't know what was going on in the background. I really don't believe for 1 minute. Yeah, 100% Corvo. I think it's shocking. I really do. And I got to be honest. If I was Newcastle at this juncture, I'd be looking at my legal options based on, Sale of Goods and Description of Goods Act, because it's not what it says on the tin, especially if you know what's been going on in the background. And there is no way AC Milan don't know that this investigation was going to happen and that kid can't walk past the fucking Paddy Powers.
Do you know what leads me to believe that they knew?
Tell me.
We had a conversation about this. The fact that guy never wanted to leave the building and go to Newcastle. And he was butchered out the door to Newcastle, if you remember.
They crowbarred him out the door.
Remember the day he showed up the sign at Newcastle and
with the face on him? Yeah.
Oh my God! And if you look at that straight away to me is warning bells straight away.
Let's not forget. And Corvo, we love you, pal. Don't take me up the wrong way on this. I don't know lots of people who want to trade Milan for Newcastle either way, though, right? Especially not if I'm an Italian. But this stings to high heaven. This absolutely stings to high heaven. This is a Vince Russo rules. This is not good. It really, really isn't. And Newcastle are well within their rights to be absolutely tamping, fuming, and raging for this one. I have to be honest.
What did you make of the little top guy on the left there, the little snake in the grass, turning state evidence and getting 7 months?
Rat.
Terrible.
Fuck. How does he ever walk into a dressing room again?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be honest, I'm not even taking a shower in front of that bloke.
Yeah, what do you make of Ted here? I still think him betting on his team to win isn't an issue. I don't mind footballers betting.
Absolutely.
I betting on your own team is a very different thing, and especially when there's a few of them.
No. I got to be honest. If he'd have been betting on the other team to win, I would have a huge problem. The fact he was backing his team to go out and pick up results, I'm okay with, because he can still only control his side of the coin. He can't control the opposite side. So you're controlling the controllables. Do you know what I mean?
This is Italian football now, so we don't actually know that now.
Yeah, but and I do agree with Ted, if I'm honest. I do agree with Ted, and I would have less of an issue with him betting on his own team than anyone else's teams. And then any sort of inside trading where, we're going to back Girona this week because actually 10 of the lads have just been on a stags in Magaluf and he can't hang their heads up. Like, you know what I mean? This happens. We seen this a number of years ago in Ireland. I don't know if you remember. Sheriff YC were playing Shelbourne in one of the Irish Cups, the FAI Cup or something like this. And it was on the Astro, I think, down at Fairview. And every man and his dog had Sheriff backed, including a number of the Shells players. And Sheriff turned them over on the night, from what I remember. And a load of the bookies refused to pay out because of the betting patterns on the game.
Yeah.
So this isn't something out of the norm.
Yeah. This is
way more normal than we believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Joanne's in. I wonder what money Mikel will waste next year. I don't think he's been too wasteful. I mean, Kai Havertz has a question mark over it, of course.
He doesn't have a question mark. There's no question mark about Kai Havertz. He's fucking dog shit.
No, I mean in Mikel Arteta's eyes. I'm not talking about us. Should we know? I'm
No,
talking
well,
about in terms of
we're not.
Mikel Arteta.
That's a waste of money. That is a waste of
Yeah,
money.
yeah,
And there's listen, Jorginho, another waste of money. Another
yeah.
waste of money. That's fucking two of them straight off, right
I just saying,
out of that centre midfield. Two wastes
Cor-
completely.
Corvo, what do you think? Kept Spire, Newcastle United, Mount Rushmore.
El Tamori, huh?
Is he the ball guy?
Yeah, Georgian
Yeah,
international Tamori Ketsboy.
yeah.
Remember he
Did
scored the
he?
goal and he started
He
kicking holes
batted the barrier.
in the
Yeah, he
hurdle.
started kicking the barrier a bit. Yeah, I remember that well.
Took
Good
took
lord.
his shoe off and threw the
Yeah.
shoe in it and everything.
I
Gas.
don't think they're not gonna give him 3 years, are they?
No,
Hard.
not at all. Not when they've already started to lay the foundations of poor Sandro. He's an addict and stuff like that.
Mm.
Listen, there's plenty of people struggling in the world with addiction, and we're not making light of it. But the fact they're using this in his defense to use extenuating circumstances is a little bit shady. I understand it. If it was me, I'd do the same. But I do feel it's a little bit difficult to swallow if you're somebody who struggles with it in real life.
I think Corvo's on about AC Milan coming to St James's Park. They have a net, Corvo. They don't care. It's Italian football. Never bothered them. Look at what Juventus have done over the years in football, and they rock up like they're European royalty.
Well, I do not doubt that Newcastle and the fans will fucking roast them that night. And I will be putting the crown jewels on Newcastle that night. Because I think all the lads will be wound up to the hilt. And they'll know we're going out to do this. Not just for the fans, not just for Sandro, but for the fucking lads that pay our wages here. Because Newcastle lads are very well looked after. Very well looked after.
Yeah, a man's job is to win football matches, so betting your team to win is fine. If I was allowed to bet on myself being on time for work every day, I would be doing it. Yeah. Interesting.
Now, what he's not telling us is he works at his kitchen table, so we have to be careful with that one, Ted.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of this over the last few weeks, haven't we, with Premier League clubs not really doing their due diligence on players and stuff like that and all, isn't it? It's very interesting, I have to say. It's when you think about the millions and millions and millions that are involved contract-wise from salaries and everything else and all, you would think that they would go right back through your family DNA nearly. 1 second, just need to fix the vid. What I'm posting tomorrow, it's got an issue. No bother, fire away. I follow AC Milan. I like them. Yeah, I mean, most people looked at AC Milan over the years. I hope we
absolutely. I think you will, Corvo.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
I think you will. I think you'll rip them a new one, pal, and I think they'll deserve every bar of it.
We give Corvo a bit of a break here, right? We're gonna turn back to you this time.
Again?
Talk to me.
Is it me again?
It is.
Yeah, my hopes and dreams have gone down the Liffey in a basket, unfortunately. The Sheikh came in and he put it on the table, and the Yanks being Yanks decided they want to fuck us over one more time and land us with Sir Jim and more debt and fucking listen. It's disheartening, shall we say.
How do you see this panning out? Say there was a couple of content done today on by 2026. Do you actually see Jim getting control of the club and everything? Do you see it actually going that way and the Glazers actually exiting the building?
Not necessarily.
I wouldn't have thought so.
I think he could certainly pick up more shares. But I mean, if the deal is struck the way he wants it to be struck, he's going to be in charge of football affairs anyway. So what does the percentage of what he owns make a difference? Does that make sense? It will be different if he needed to get to 51% in order to make decisions. But he's going in with 25%, and the deal is going to be, I'm coming in with 25%. We're looking at the rest of the stock down the road, but I'm pulling no punches. Everything is going to go through me and my team on the footballing side. which, to be honest, suits me a little bit. Because I do believe there's footballing things at Man United that could be done better. But we've also got to remember he hasn't lit up the world at Nice at all. So, you've got to be careful.
This season's looking much better after
It
4
is.
years. Yeah.
It is, but what have you just said?
Yeah.
After 4 years.
Yeah.
We don't have 4 years. We don't have 4 months.
Well, I suppose you're going to have 4 years, 3 to 4 years before he takes total control, if that's the case.
Well, I mean, total control from the footballing point of view is now when he gets 25%. That's the deal on the table.
But you believe that's going to happen?
Well, apparently he's not coming in on that basis.
If they announce it. I mean, even if they announce it. Now, I like the talk of, Paul Mitchell potentially coming in as a director of football and all. I think that's a real good move and stuff like that. I also like the idea of Arnold and Murta exiting the building potentially as well, because I think that will bear fruit for you. I think it's not being good, let's say, on a number of levels. I think having links with other clubs as well could work in your favour as well in terms of talent sharing, trading, prepping, whatever it is, youth, all that kind of stuff.
But look, we've had that before. We were one of the first clubs to have that in the mid-90s when we signed on with Royal Antwerp, and we used to send lads over there to get game time in the Belgian league. And when we used to take lads from the academy, it never worked. When Ronnie Walworth got his ban playing for Antwerp and then came back to United and couldn't play because he was banned. So, there's pluses and minuses to everything. I don't necessarily think you can hang it on the two lads either. I think that's harsh. I think they've done some good stuff, Murta and Arnold. I don't think United fans are happy ever, if I'm honest. And I think no matter what,
their handling of communication at times has been shocking. Shocking.
In what sense?
Well, what was the one that came out? The one with Arnold when he was with the fans. Remember, he was having points and stuff like that in the pub. And what was he talking about? He was talking about what was it? The level of spend and the players they were going to bring in and all. Didn't really happen. Stuff like that. There's a lot of shade that's being thrown around.
But we know there's been huge amounts of money spent though. Huge.
Yes, but the huge amount of money that is being spent hasn't brought the fruition that you wanted, where you see that because of the way
that's down to poor recruitment in players and in manager. But we know that it's not necessarily just down to financial issues, because the money has been spent for Manchester United to be in the race right now, and we're not.
No, but what it means is where they've gone in to do these deals, they could have done these deals in a much better way, in a much quicker way that would have saved you a lot more money that you mightn't have had to loan Amrabat. You could have went in and bought him because the money be like if you take the Anthony one, for example, Lissandro, for example,
Listen,
even
the Anthony deal's a bad deal, right? The Anthony deal's a bad deal. But our biggest problem with the Anthony deal was we were going to Ajax after they'd sold the Crown Jewels. At that stage, Ajax didn't need to sell. So the only way to crowbar him out of there was by offering a silly amount of money that they couldn't turn their nose up to. That should have never happened.
Yeah.
That should have never happened, right? But it did. Do I necessarily think it's down to the lads? I think at times they're probably trying to appease a manager or a set of fans. And I think if you go into that job as Murta or Arnold, and you constantly in the background are thinking, what do the fans want? That blurs your vision of what you are trying to create at that club. Because you can't do two things at the same time. I can't keep the fans happy and, make the right kind of deals at the right time. It generally doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? I can throw money at it and I can make it look like I've done my best. But really, I'm papering over cracks with throwing money at it. And that was the issue.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. Acers and Glazers wanted 10 billion for United, say it was ridiculous. It's not ridiculous for me. What's ridiculous
hold
about
on. If they want 10 billion, they've just sold them 25% for 1.3.
Yeah.
Lads, I'm not great at fucking maths, But like, that's 5.2 billion if you're asking me. Why not accept the Sheikh's money and get out of Dodge? Because they don't have an interest in selling the club.
Exactly.
It's worth too much money to them.
Or they know what's coming down the road with the extension of
With
the
the
Champions
TV
League, the
deal and
broadcasting,
right?
everything else
This
that's
is
coming through and stuff
all
like that.
about that good green. That's
Like
all it's ever going to be about.
if you think about it, if they lifted the ban on the 3 p.m. blackout and United developed an MUTV app tomorrow that you could get matches on and stuff like that, that revenue just goes.
Well, listen,
and there you go.
And here's the one thing I would say, and we've often spoke about this. If I was the Glazers right now, would I sell Man United?
No. Why would you?
The fans want them to sell it.
They use Man United as a perfect tool to manipulate the market from a legal point of view to make 200 million every 18 months. Why would they?
Other than, being a good person, right, which we know, and we said it 100 times before, anyone that gets to that level isn't a good person. The amount of people you have to stand on to get to that level, right, is out the fucking door. So we're taking into account that they're all shady, every one of them, and include Radcliffe in that. I include the Sheikh, I include the Glazers, I include anyone that owns a football team of that magnitude, right? So we know what?
Corvo's in saying Sir Jim is a smart man. He knows what he's doing with the Glazers. Not too sure about that. I think you're looking at a chess game here.
Yeah, I think the Glazers have played rope-a-dope here.
Absolutely. This is the rumble in the jungle, isn't it? This is
the Glazers, and I think that's the reason they don't. I think that's the reason they don't get into bed with the Sheikh, because they go, this guy is not an idiot.
What they've done is they removed the shield of Ed Woodward and they found another guy with money to create a new force field in front of them.
Absolutely.
Because think about it going forward now. They're putting it out there as well, and I don't believe it as well, that footballing matters.
You want to make all the football decisions? No problem, Jim.
Because, Jim, for the last 20 years, we didn't make them either, so it's not a problem.
Absolutely.
We just wrote the checks.
So, Jim, what's going to happen is, for the next number of years, you're going to be shit on by the fans if things don't go your way or our way. And if they do, we expected them to. And if they don't, you're going to be the one that stands in front of the sword.
Yeah. So we're going to be there either with the sword or we're going to be there with the parade. But one way or another, we win.
We're going to be there.
I don't think for a multi-billionaire and stuff like that, this man has thought out what he's doing at all. I don't believe for a minute.
Let's not forget how many times he has had his hat in the ring for a club.
Yeah.
He has had he's thrown his knickers in the ring quite a few times, pardon the pun, to try and get a seat at one of these tables. He did it at Chelsea as well. So, there's a lot in this.
Yeah, when you have 5 Glazers on board and trying to negotiate, that's like trying to complete Dark Souls blindfolded. It's not really, because if you think about it, I think there's actually 6 on the board, isn't there, from what I can recall? But 5 or 6, it doesn't really matter. But you can be guaranteed 3 of them want to get out of town, and the other 2 boys that are the forefront of it are hanging on because they know the potential. Mark my words, within 4 to 5 years, Man United will be valued at 10 billion easily, and it will be looked at as being a steal. Mark my words. Look at the trajectory of football revenue at the moment and where it's going. Look at how it's gone and how it's gone.
And regardless of results on the pitch, we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We are still, on the tip of everyone's tongue. Everyone wants to talk. Everyone wants to talk about us. The merchandise is still leaving the shop, the TV rights, the ads, the sponsorship deals. We're still as big a business as we've ever been.
Yeah, Jack, absolutely. Of course I will. 100% I will. Just send me the link whenever you want, or if you can't get me on here, you'll get me on Twitter, Jack, if you're on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or the Upper Tier Podcast at gmail.com. And you need me to do, just let me know. Not a problem. Shall we get into our bets?
Let's. Will I go first?
You can go first.
Okay. Just because I don't have lots of battery left on my phone, not The laptop. The laptop's okay. Just the phone. Okay, we're starting off small, and we're going to grow each round. Yeah.
Just before you start, actually, I have a new bet this week that I've never done. So just to
Okay.
let you know.
Well, I've done 3 bets, which I rarely do. I usually stick to 2, but I've gone for my 3 favorite bets. So I've gone a straight accumulator. I've got a result on both to score, and I've a goal scorer bet. So in no particular order, I'm lying about that part. It is in a particular order. Newcastle, Wolves, Forest, Villa, and Spurs. 5 teams. Accumulator 18-1.
Can you see this? You able
No.
to see that?
Mark Hogan?
That's our resident referee out on the points with Dennis Irwin.
I can see Mark, but I can't see Dennis the way you're showing the angle.
Maybe I'll go that way.
If you go that way, I can see all of it. Yeah, that's right. Well done.
See him now. He's out with Dennis there. He's sending me. He says, I can't get a soundbite for the podcast yet, pal. It's too loud. Oh, he's after sending me a video of Dennis Irwin calling out our podcast. There you go. Have a look at that later.
We'll keep that for later.
Yeah, we keep that for later. We'll play it next week.
That was 18-1.
Nice.
My second bet.
Yeah.
Is my result on both score. We have Liverpool on both score.
Yeah.
City on both to score. And Arsenal on both to score.
I might check my one against that, actually.
Do you think we've doubled up now?
I'll just double check now.
Three of the top teams. I've gone Arsenal, City, and Liverpool all to win a result to score.
Exact same. And
have you got 24-1 as well?
I have 23.5. Yeah. Liverpool about to score, City about to score, Arsenal about to score. There you go. Yeah. And we don't even talk beforehand. There it is. You won't see it, but it's there. There you go. So I don't even have to give you that one now.
So that's 2. And then I have my last one. This is my slightly bigger price. I've gone for goal scorers. And I've gone for 4 of them. So I've gone Corvo's me, Callum Wilson at home at St James's Park. I've gone Morgan Gibbs-White at home versus Luton. I've gone Ollie Watkins at home versus West Ham. And I rounded out with my boy Rasmus Højlund away at Sheffield United. And that's 40-1.
Interesting. I'll give you my new bet in a few minutes, in a second. It's a good one. I think you'll like this one as well. It's a good one. Right, I did obviously the same result on both the score as you, that treble. Nice one at 25-1, whatever it is, pretty decent. And an interesting return on it. I did a handicap bet as well. Interesting one. So I did a 4-team handicap bet, all -1s. So I went for -1 Liverpool versus Everton, -1 Man City versus Brighton.
Okay.
I went for -1 Newcastle versus Palace.
Okay.
I went for -1 Tottenham versus Fulham.
I like that.
Now the odds aren't huge. Comes in about 20.
I was going to say 12s. Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's about 23-1. Not bad.
And it's not both teams to score. So, that hurt lots.
No.
Oh, there was nothing funny about that ball. Oh God, that hurt. Just bang the elbow off the radiator. Oh God. It's like stubbing your toe off the corner of the bed. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
God, that hurt.
Here's the new one that I did for you. To score or assist.
Yes.
To score or assist. So I went for Martin Odegaard off Arsenal to score or assist.
In me fancy football.
Mo Salah to score or assist because he has been putting in the assists.
In me fantasy football also.
Jeremy Doku for Man City to score or assist. And I finished out one for Corvo. Little Miguel Almiron to score or assist for Newcastle.
That price couldn't be great, could it? 16?
23-1.
That's all right.
it's not bad, isn't it? And it's a nice little bet to score or assist.
Yes,
So
I had a bet a couple of weeks ago, and it was the night Arsenal played away in the Champions League. They lost against Lens, and I had Saka goal or assist, and he scored. But you both covered, which was great.
Yeah, make sure, Jack, if you're on Twitter, check out at the upper tier and send me those links in the messages on Twitter as well. Because when we do the live shows, once we go out of them, I can't get back into the live chat, only the comments. So that's why I haven't been able to get at your links and stuff like that. But if you can, send them on to me there or whatever. Or if you want to email them, the upper tier podcast@gmail.com, so I can check them out for you. So that's the best. But I thought that was a nice one to score or assist, gives you a double chance and stuff like that. It's
absolutely
cool. Interesting. We didn't get to talk about the broadcasting, but we'll cover it again. So it's coming up. Okay, well, now not a bother. Yeah, so we'll cover it on the second one. Yeah, on Twitter. Yeah, absolutely. Acer's Impact Wrestling doing UK tour next. We'll be first in the queue. I did mention, I never spoke to you actually. You sent me an email earlier about the Royal Rumble. I got my tickets yesterday.
Very good.
And not as part of the pre-sale because the cost was outrageous.
Right.
Yeah, so I went with who did I go with this one? Viagogo. Worked out pretty decent. Yeah, so I got the tickets yesterday. So there you go. So good. I'm off to the Royal Rumble at the end of January, off to Tampa for a week. So there you go. Looking forward to it.
Hard out life, isn't it?
It is. It's not easy.
Go on, give us a shout out. Who's going on the trip?
Me, Baz, Graham, and JR.
4 good men.
4 good men. What's your name on Twitter? It's at the _upper_ tier. That's where you'll find me there on Twitter. So send us on a message there, and I'll be able to converse and look at those links and stuff like that. That's it. Another great show. Thursday done. I will be back tomorrow night with a Merseyside derby preview, which I like doing. I've missed the old previews for the Liverpool games now. And of course, I'll be back Saturday afternoon with a match reaction. And an old head from the Shankly sessions might be returning for the match reaction on Saturday. That's all I'll say. It's not confirmed yet, but
right.
The man who
we should stay tuned.
Absolutely. The man who once on a podcast said he wanted to shoot John Henry in the face, but that's all I'll say on that. Until next time, folks, enjoy the rest of your evening and have a safe weekend. Enjoy the football. Come on, the Reds and the Merseyside derby, of course. And we'll talk to you again real soon. Darren, you want to end the show tonight, don't you?
I do, pal. Yeah, I do. Just want to give a big shout out to a friend of mine, Graham. He's been on here a few times. He's been in the chat, and him and his family, they're dealing with something at the minute. His niece was killed tragically on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning in LA, and just thinking of you, Graham, thinking of all your family, pal, and hopefully, you guys get through this really tough moment. And we're thinking of you, all right, pal?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we extend our thoughts, prayers, and condolences. Of course, it's so tragic. I don't know how many times I say it on this podcast that a parent should never bury a kid. It's the ultimate devastation. So all our thoughts are going out to Graham and the extended family and everyone over there in the States and all where it happened and stuff like that. Absolutely as tragic as can be. And we'll talk to you again real soon, folks. But as we always say at the end of the show, hug your loved ones, make the most of your time. You never know what's around the corner.
Absolutely.
And what do they say? Never go to bed on an argument.
You got it.
Talk to you soon, folks. Take care.